makes it burn up brightly. Now, the reason why we do that is because, as I say, the fire, the oxygen makes the fire burn up brightly. But before we had mild steel, there was cast iron. Now this cast iron was brilliant stuff. They've known about cast iron for way back to the Ming Dynasty in China and places like that. But there was this man, an Englishman called Bessemer, and he found out that if you put manganese ore along with other alloys and take the carbon out of the, separate the carbon, then the result material then was known as mild steel. Now this material was ideal for making the horseshoes. Now, a mild steel, as I say, you could get it and beat it and bend it and shape it. And now you can see how easy it is to beat, to bend and to shape. Now, the largest horseshoe was for the big Clydesdale. They came from the northeast coast of Scotland, but we didn't like them because they were far too greedy. I would eat the amount of grass of 2 cows, but we had was a big Irish draft. Not a big Irish draft, but we had what was known as an Irish draft or a Welsh cob. And 2 well-bred, well-fed horses like this were quite capable of pulling the plough. Now, is it really necessary to put a shoe on a horse? Yes, it is. For a horse to plough 1 acre of ground, he has to walk up and down the field, and while the shoe has been on the horse's hoof, the hoof is now grown, and we have to cut off this certain piece of hoof. This is called keratin, and it's just exactly the same as your fingernails and toenails. So we can cut this off. Now we don't want to cut too tight in towards the quick. We just pare round the outside of the horse's hoof. Having done that, then we get a big rasp and we smooth off the underside of the horse's hoof until it's on the level plane. Then we prove the shoe to see is it a good fit, but it may not be a good fit, it may still be wobbling. Well, if it's wobbling, then I have to do what's known as a hot shoeing. I get the tongs and I put the tongs into I put it into the fire, allow it to become red hot. Whenever it's red hot, then I have to pick up the red hot shoe. How do you do that? With great difficulties, I say, not at all. I get a drift and I put the drift into one of the nail holes and I go clink. And then I'm able to pick up the red hot shoe, take it outside, place it onto the horse's hoof, and this is what happens when I put the hot shoe onto the horse's hoof, and we get a wee sniff of that there. That's Chanel number 5. Minging rotten. But if you're a good looking blacksmith like me and you're still curtain, put a couple of handfuls of that onto your ox there. Hey Mingo. Then I take it over to the fizz trough, I dump it onto the water, this cools it, tempers it, and hardens it. Now if you have any warts in your hands or fingers, dip them into this water here, because the chemical that comes from the coal or sulphur is in the water and the wart will disappear in 2 weeks.
My hand on it.
Good.
I have one on my finger.
Well, whenever you bring your hand out, just let it drip dry naturally now, don't shake the water off it. Okay?
Thank you very much.
She's got her foot in, she's got one on her foot.
In the water.
Put your foot in the water, it'll be gone in 2 weeks. Go on, you have to believe. You have to believe it works. Go on.
I'll give you a bottle of water, you want it?
Do you, hey? Please.
No bother, I'll do that when I'm finished. Right, with the big shoe nail here, the big thick head on it for to stop it pulling through the shoe. The other end's as sharp as a pin. When we drive it through, we want it to come out on the outside like so. And when they're all clenched over, then the shoe will not pull out and the shoe will not fall off your horse. But you see guys, if I put the nail in the wrong way, the nail would go up the inside of the horse's hoof, up into what's known as the frog. And the terminology for that is quicken the horse, and if you quick the horse, he'd be quick and kicking you. So that takes 15 minutes. 4 15s is an hour, and you'd be expected to shoe 20 horses in a day. No, that's high. Now, but that's not all that the blacksmith did. He would have made gates, hinges, bars, bolts, anything at all to do with mild steel. He was then able to beat it and bend it and to shape it. And one of the things he would have done was to make the harn and iron for the housewife. Now, why would she need this? Well, this wasn't what you might go around and see a lot of restaurants. You'll see when you go into the entrance hall, they might have this sitting up. People think it's an antique. Well, really, in a way, it is an antique, but it actually is a piece of equipment for making oat cake or a hardtack. You got the oatmeal, salt and water, you made it into a very stiff dough, slid it off the big baking board onto this here, and whenever it would be about 5/8 of an inch or 15 millimeter, you would set it all over this, and then take it over to the fire. Now it's still soft, and all that you're simply doing is removing the moisture. You're taking away the water and leaving the oat cake, salt and water, and this now doesn't roast it, toast it, or bake it. All it's simply doing is removing the water from the food, and then it becomes a really hard dough, and it's known as oat cake or hardtack. And this food would last for 12 weeks. Now, why do you want food that would last for 12 weeks? Well, young Mr. Mellon, when he was only 5 years of age, he went with his father and mother, and they went the whole way to Baltimore and up into Pennsylvania, and it took them 12 weeks. So it was a long journey, wasn't it? So that is, but I haven't told you anything about why the park has been here. Well, way back 50 odd years ago, we had a lot of unemployment here in Northern Ireland, and some clever, Terence O'Neill was the Prime Minister, and he says we'll have to do something about this unemployment, and he says, but then there was a smart guy there who said, why don't you do what they did in America? CCC, the Civil Construction Corps. And this, these guys done meaningful work. And here in Northern Ireland, we adopted the same policy, and we called it Enterprise Ulster. If you're down in the south of Ireland, it's called FOSS. And they done meaningful work as well, civic amenity sites, play areas and stuff like that. But here, one of the men says, what about Mr. Mellon's homestead? Wouldn't that be a good place to have a park in memory of Thomas Mellon? And that's just what they did. And that all happened over almost 50 years ago. And we went on from strength to strength. Now, at this minute in time, the only two houses that are not original is the Forge and the Weavers. All the rest of the houses have a history that backs them up, where they came from and who was in them, right the whole way around, down the Ulster Street and through the ship and then out into America. What do you think of that?
Great achievement.
Pretty good.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Well, you see what you're doing there for the wort?
Aye.
I'm going to give you charm now as well, and you can do that from standing here. If that there doesn't work for you, whenever you go, next time you're out in the countryside, get a copper coin out of your pocket, and when you come to the crossroads, any crossroads, anywhere, take the copper coin, stop, number 1, put on your handbrake, number 2, get the copper coin, rub the wort with the copper coin, any copper coin,
Yeah.
and make sure you screw down the window. Throw the copper coin out onto the tarred road, and whenever someone finds the copper coin, the wort will disappear. Now that is a charm. This here is a cure.
Right. I'll try both of
And both are free of charge.
them.
And you can try your feet as well. Do you want, why you wanted a bottle?
Will you please say?
Wow.
It's the sulphur that actually comes from the coal, burns the. What do we got that over? Hope we drink it.
One of the tastiest stuff, isn't it?
Thank you very much.
Well, here, did you